So if you've never walked the Camino before, there's probably a really confusing question you got on your mind. There's more than one Camino. Which one should you walk? Well, this week we have an expert on Caminos with us, Sara Dhooma, who's walked loads of them, and she's going to tell us the ins and outs of all the different Caminos. Coming right up. So Sara, welcome. It's great to, I feel like I know you already. I've watched all your videos, and we'll put a link down below to your channel. But you are a bit of a Camino celebrity out there, you know, I mean, if you didn't realize. and you've created some fantastic videos over the years on different Caminos. How many Caminos have you walked?
Oh, I don't know, because it's always hard to judge what exactly is a Camino. Does it need to always follow through and end in Santiago, or is it just a particular Camino portion? So it depends how you define it, but definitely more than a dozen.
More than a dozen. I am so jealous. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, because you've kind of done those hopscotch ones, haven't you? Where you start off here and then go over there. So is that a dozen different ones, or have you repeated some?
Um, I don't like to repeat, partly because there's so many great Caminos to walk. So I want to always see new sights and experience new things. But as you get closer to Santiago, the roads kind of funnel into each other. And
Yeah,
so, for example, walking the last little bit of the Camino Frances happens a lot.
yeah. I actually like that last bit, and I will confess, I have only walked 3 Caminos, so I started a bit late in life, and I got a bit of catching up to do, and they've all been the same one so far. So I started on the Camino Frances from Saint Jean, and I love that so much. And then my wife came with me, and I kind of liked the familiarity of the Camino Frances. It kind of felt like home, and so I've done that one 3 times, and I thought, no, it's enough, Rob. It's enough. There's plenty more. You got to get out and try another one. So I'll try something a little bit more remote. So of all the Caminos that you've walked, which would be your favorite and why?
It's tough because it's kind of like food. There's all different flavors, and
Mm,
sometimes you feel like something Italian, sometimes you feel like
mm.
something like spicy Thai, but they're all equally delicious. But the one that really has my heart is the Ruta de la Lana, because it's a very quiet Camino. Not very many pilgrims walk it, if you're lucky to even see another pilgrim. And the hospitality of the villages you walk through are just incredible.
Yeah, I recall watching that video series of yours, and it was pretty remote.
Yeah.
So so you obviously like the remote Caminos. I mean, for anyone who hasn't walked a Camino before, particularly, I think a lot of people start with the Camino Frances because it's, you know, the infrastructure is great and you really can't get lost and there's lots of people around you. I also like that sort of mix of feeling a little bit isolated and alone and just sort of with your own thoughts. And on my first Camino Frances, I was able to get that a little bit, believe it or not, sort of picking the time of day that I was going to walk and so on. But you obviously really like that more isolated walk.
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of a lucky person because it's not for everyone, but I'm comfortable alone with my thoughts, and I'm comfortable being alone. I don't always need to have a group with me, or, sharing a meal with people at the end of the day. But what really helps is having a cell phone, because then I'm still connected to home and
Mm.
connected to what's going on. Then when I'm walking, I just have my cell phone turned off, and it's a time for reflection.
That's great. I actually, it's funny when you mention a cell phone. I shoot a lot of video, nothing as good as yours, but I shoot a lot of video when I'm walking, and it's almost like when I'm shooting video, someone's with me. It's someone to talk about, to talk to. You know, oh, isn't this amazing? And it's almost like having a companion with you, I find.
Oh yeah, I definitely feel that way too. And sometimes filming pushes me to do things that maybe I wouldn't normally do. For example, if I'm walking and I see, oh, maybe there's going to be a great view up that hill, but I'm too lazy, I'll just walk by the hill. But if I know if I'm filming, well, maybe everybody would like to see that view. So I'll take the extra effort and go up
Yeah.
there.
That's true. It does make you do different things. And if you haven't watched Sarah's series on the Via de la Plata, you need to watch that. I think it was on day 2. You're charging around the amphitheater like a like a gladiator. But I think it's true. When you're filming something, it kind of makes you get out there a little bit and show people different aspects of the Caminos and so on. So if you had to think back of all the Caminos that you've walked, which one didn't go so well for whatever reason?
Um, Well, I think one of the biggest challenges can be weather, and
Mm,
that's not necessarily the Camino's fault. It's just perhaps the time of year. When I was walking the Camino de Invierno, it starts in Ponferrada and then
mm.
goes to Santiago. You can take that as an alternate route, even if you're walking the Camino Frances. Um, it's a very, very lovely, beautiful walk through the river valley most of the time. But I was walking it in kind of more the winter months. And so I was rained on heavily every single day. And with that rain, there was so much mud that at times I was almost up to my knees in that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm hoping to do that one next. So, I'm gonna follow in your footsteps and start in Sevilla and do the VDLP, and then I'm
Mhm,
thinking I might branch off. Instead of doing the Sanabras, I might go up to Astorga,
mhm.
Ponferrada, and then do the, Invierno into, Santiago.
Yeah, despite the rain, I just learned to embrace that cold rain
Mm.
and deal with it. It was still very, very beautiful and green and lush. It's
Oh, the
definitely a super Camino, and it's a great choice for people that have a limited amount of time because
mm,
you can easily do that in a 2 week section and then have your
mm.
end in Santiago at the cathedral and know that you did a and
So if
yeah.
if anybody is watching this and they haven't walked a Camino and they've got, the sort of lockdown blues and they're really waiting to get out there, for a first Camino, which one would you recommend?
Well, if you have the time, then you got to do the classic, the Camino
Yeah.
Frances. Because if it's your like first time starting out on the Camino, you're going to get all the support. There's going to be lots of other first timers in the same position as of you. You're going to meet a lot of buddies. You're going to meet a lot of friends for life, and there's so many different accommodation options. And
Mm,
also with that Camino, if you find you're getting injured because you're not used to walking long distances, there's also the ability to transport your bag as you go ahead. So rather than, oh, I'm injured, I can't walk anymore, I'm going to give up, just try transferring your bag for a few days and see if that kind of works through the issues. Also, because you're walking through these big centers with the big cities, if you're injured, you can take a day off, and then there's tons of different activities to do for like sightseeing to fill your time. If you're on a quieter Camino, maybe you don't want to be spending 3 days in a village with a bar that's only open 3 days a week, then
yeah.
there's nothing for you to do, no activities. um,
No,
but the
that's great
Camino
advice.
Frances is good for a first timer.
Yeah, I'd have to go with that. And, even though it gets busier and busier, I can
Hmm.
remember on my second day coming down the hill to Roncesvalles, off the Pyrenees, and I took that alternate route to the right. I didn't see a soul for a couple of hours, and I think because of the timing, that's a big thing. Depending when you set out and things like that,
Hmm.
you can kind of fit in. It's not crowds as such, but you can get a little bit of free space. And that was a glorious walk down there, just totally on my own. It's amazing. So yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
good tip for the first one, I think. And it might be a little bit intimidating, I think, perhaps for a first timer to do one of the more remote ones, just because that you can feel very isolated and can be a bit intimidating.
Yeah, the Camino Portuguese is also a good first timer one because it has similar infrastructure. And if you are someone who does like to hike and you're fitter than the average Joe and you're really into nature, then the Del Norte is also a first timer good choice.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one for me. There's a lot of hills and quite a bit of road
Yes.
walking, isn't there?
Well, I've only done the Basque Country portion to Bilbao, so I don't know about the last half, but I think that's where most of the roads are.
There we go. Well, so which one is your next one? And don't tell
Well,
me
well, in October, what year? We're in 2022,
we're in 21.
so or we're in 21 right now.
Yeah.
I forget. So this pandemic. So October 2020, I completed 1 month on the Vézelay Camino, which is in France. It's the second most popular route in France. The first most popular one is the one from Le Puy-en-Velay.
Yeah.
The Vézelay one has great albergues, low-cost accommodations for pilgrims, but Europe went into lockdown, and so I had to leave. So I still have another month or so to complete that one to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port.
Yeah, I don't know how many more Caminos I've got in me. You've got a few years on me, but I think VDLP next, and then Le Puy. That's got to be a good one. Just love what I've seen in terms of the scenery and the French cooking.
Oh my goodness. Okay, with my favorite part of the Le Puy Camino is the food, for sure.
Yeah.
Because on that Camino, you're not staying so much in albergues, but you're staying in gîtes, where they offer you a bed, breakfast, and a wonderful home cooked meal most of the time. And these meals aren't like your regular pilgrim fare. They're like 4 or 5 course of spreads, which usually include a cheese course. And before I had done this Camino, I didn't even know there was such a thing. They usually bring out a big tray filled with cheeses, and then you eat cheese after your meal.
And having watched a few of your videos, I know you're into the odd beer. So what did you think of the French beer?
Well, okay. During the Le Puy Camino, there wasn't really much in terms of variety of beers. It was just kind of your standard. But when I was in France in October, they're starting to catch up with the craft beer scene that is so popular here in North America. So I had the opportunity to visit a few craft breweries, and I was very impressed by what I tasted. And I love that they put the focus on local and organic ingredients. So you really feel like you're tasting something that's a product of the earth. Just like when you have French wine, it's the terra. I don't know how to,
we know what you mean. Yeah.
The fancy, the fancy flavors and scents and everything with it. So yeah, French beer is coming along.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, look, we better let you go, Sarah. Great to chat to you. And for those particularly who haven't walked a Camino, some great insights there into the different types that you might think of walking. And I think we do need to put a bit of a health warning that, if it's your first time on Camino, it will probably not be the last, because it does get a little bit addictive. So thanks for joining us, Sarah, and thank you for watching. And of course, if you enjoy the channel, do subscribe, do like, do comment. I like to see lots of comments and love answering those questions. So thanks, Sarah. And if you're watching, see you next week. Bye for now.